Janavalabha Giri Varanade Janavalabha Giri Varanade Yasodadana Rajajana Ranjana Yasodadana Rajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachati Yamunate Banachati Janabalaba Girivarahati Gopi Janabalaba Jaya Radho Madhava Kunjave Pade Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Ji His Divine Grace Abhaya Chalana Pad Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Jai Ananda Koti Voice Nam Vrindiga Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Jai Prem Say Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Ganadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrindiga Jai Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagadada Swami Ki Jai Madhumai Ki Jai Srimati Devi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Hari All glory is the sum of the devotees. All glory is the sum of the devotees. All glory is the sum of the devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swamini Chinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvishesha Shunya Bhali Paschacha Deja Tarani. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, 17th chapter, text 13 to 14, and we're just going to do 13 responsively. So, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishnam Radad Vinishkrantam Divya Shrag Ganda Vasasam Maha Mani Ganakirnam Jambunada Parishkritam Krishnam Radad Vinishkrantam Divya Shrakanda Vasasam Mahamani Ganakirnam Jambunada Parishkritam Krishnam Radad Vinishkrantam Divya Shrakanda Vasasam Mahamani Ganakirnam Jambunada Parishkritam Krishnam Radad Vinishkrantam Divya Shrakanda Vasasam Mahamani Ganakirnam Jambunada Parishkritam. Okay. And then we'll do the word by word synonyms. Upalabhyo titha sarve labdha prana ivasasvaha pramoda nibritatmanu gopa pricha vire vire. Should we repeat? Krishnam, Lord Krishna, Radat, from out of the lake, Finish Krantam, rising up, Divya, divine, Shrak, wearing garlands, Gandha, fragrances, Vasasam, and garments. Mahamani Gana, by many fine jewels. Akirnam, covered. Jambunada, with gold. Parishkritam, decorated. Ubalabhya, seen. Utitaha, rising up. Sarve, all of them. Labda, prana, which have regained their vital force. Eva, just as. Asava, senses. Pramoda, with joy. Nibrita atmana, being filled. Gopaha, the cowards. Pricha, with affection. Abhire, bide, embraced him. So translation, resuming his description of Krishna's chastisement of Kaliya, Bir Goswami continued, Krishna rose up out of the lake wearing divine garlands, fragrances, and garments, covered with many fine jewels and decorated with gold. When the cowards saw him, they all stood up immediately, just like an unconscious person's senses coming back to life. Filled with great joy, they affectionately embraced him. So we won't repeat this. So I'm just going to speak a little bit about this verse. So Omagana Timidandasha Gananjana Shilakaya Chakshur Urmiritam Yena Tasmai Shigarave Namaha. So referring to the Sanskrit here, which is an interesting word, British Krantam, it's translated here as rising up. But actually the word means rising up in a very special way, which is interesting in Sanskrit. British Krantam. And so what is that special way that Krishna is rising up here? And the special way he's rising up is that nobody... Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay. That people can't see the special way he's rising up because right below the surface there's all the serpent friends of Kaliya that are acting as platforms for him to stand on. Some new information for all of you. So Kaliya has asked all of his friends, you know, he has snake friends, just like we have human friends, and Kaliya has snake friends. So he has asked all of his snake friends to act as like stepping stones for Krishna. So Krishna's standing there, and he's dry at this particular point, and he has all these jewels that were given by the serpents too. Amazing. And so then he's walking up, and then everyone's relieved. The first persons to embrace Krishna are the coward boys, because they're the ones standing on the bank of the river, and they're very worried, and they embrace Krishna in great joy and great ecstasy, and everyone comes back to consciousness. Because the residents of Vrindavan, experiencing great love for Krishna, are actually, many of them have lost, like Mother Yashoda Mai, have lost their external consciousness. They just fall to the ground. And of course originally they wanted to go in the river to try to help Krishna, but Balaram kept them from going in the river because Balaram knew who Krishna is. Actually, Balaram and Krishna are the same person. Advaita Chuta Nadira Nanta Rupa Madhyam Purana Purusham Navayoganam. So there's only one God. Try to remember. This is a point I made many times in class. That according to the Brahma Samhita, Advaita, there's one God, but he has a variety of forms, and he's the same person. Balaram and Krishna are the same person. Try to remember that. And also, if you go to the pastimes of Lord Ram, which all of you love, and I love too, Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrughna are the same person. That's amazing, isn't it? And all the incarnations of Krishna, who are the same, the Vishnu Tattva incarnations, are all serving the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And they're all the same persons. And they're all acting simultaneously in different roles, in unlimited circumstances, unlimited places, because not only in this universe these pastimes are going on, but there's pastimes going on in every universe. All of Krishna's pastimes are taking place in some universe, somewhere at this particular time. And so, as we're reading about this particular pastime, some other universe, Krishna is taking birth. In another universe, Krishna is fighting the demons, killing the demons in Vrindavan. In another universe, Krishna is driving the chariot of Arjuna. And all this is happening simultaneously with all of Krishna's expansions. So, you may think you understand it, but you're wrong. Because this is a chincha. If you could understand God, well, you'd probably be God. And even Krishna, in his expansion as Ananta Shesh, doesn't understand himself. And Krishna doesn't understand himself because he's expanding unlimitedly at every unlimited moment. So trying to imagine that Krishna's in infinite places, acting in different ways, interacting with himself. Like you have that pastime of the Mahavishnu, wanting to see Krishna, and Krishna and the Mahavishnu are the same person. You know the story of the Krishna book. Mahavishnu made a trick. He kept stealing the Brahman's sons, so that Krishna would come with Arjuna to see him, and he said, I just wanted to see you. And they're the same person. How is that possible? Don't ask me. Because even Lord Brahma stated, others may say that they know Krishna, they know. But Lord Brahma, the first progenitor, first person in our disciplic succession, says he doesn't know. So, in other words, it's inconceivable. That's what Chincha and also Krishna's Shaktis are inconceivable. You know, not only do we have Krishna expanding himself, but we have Krishna's Shaktis expanding themselves. We have Radharani, who's the Adi Shakti, and she expands as the principal gopis, and then the other gopis, and then she expands as the wives of Krishna and Dwarka, and they expand as the Lakshmis in the Vaikuntha planets. And then ultimately, just like Krishna expands through his glance as Shambhu, then the Lakshmis expand into this material world as Durga. So this is all inconceivable. And all these things are happening. It's inconceivable. Don't try to understand God, try to love him. And we should understand the philosophy, Sambandha Videya Prayojana, like the nature of God, the nature of the Jiva's soul, the nature of Krishna's energies. We should understand how to perform devotional service, Abhideya, and we should understand the goal. But really, Krishna's God. If he wasn't inconceivable, he wouldn't be God. If he couldn't do anything and everything that he, at any time, in unlimited circumstances, he wouldn't be God. So don't try to understand. Try to appreciate and love Krishna. Okay, that's one point about this whole particular pastime. Another point that I felt was really important was the emotions that the residents of Vrindavan are feeling. Because they do not know that Krishna is God. So therefore they can have more intense emotions than the residents of the Vaikuntha planets. The residents of the Vaikuntha planets, they know that Lord Vishnu is God. They know. So they're not in anxiety. They're not in much anxiety. You know, will Lord Vishnu get hurt fighting the demons? No, he has the Sudarshan chakra, he can defeat anybody. What's the anxiety? The demigods get in anxiety sometimes. When Krishna is fighting the demons, like Krishna was fighting Hiranyaksha, and it got the evening time when the demons got more powerful. So the demigods were saying, kill him now before it's the evening. And also we find the same thing happened in the pastimes of Lord Ram, that he was supposed to kill Tadaka before it became evening time. Tadaka, your friend. Tadaka. Anyway, so the point is, but the residents of Vrindavan do not understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They think Krishna is their friend, their son, their lover, their master, but they do not think that Krishna is God. So they are experiencing intense emotions. So why does Krishna do that to them? You would think that if Krishna loves his devotees, right, he wouldn't want them to experience anxiety. I mean, who wants to experience anxiety? Raise your hand if you want to experience anxiety. Is it pleasant? No. Who wants to experience fear? No, it's not pleasant. I mean, I just want to have things peaceful, like Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Right? But the residents, Krishna subjects the residents of Vrindavan. And there's one story in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita where this is a similar story to what's happening here in the Bhagavatam, that it's in the spiritual world, and Krishna also in the spiritual world is dancing on the heads of Kaliya. But before he dances on the heads of Kaliya, he's entrapped in the coils of Kaliya, in the spiritual world. Of course, in the spiritual world, Kaliya is not actually inimical to Krishna. He's a coward boy or one of the residents of Vrindavan playing as Kaliya. Try to understand that. Just like the other demons in the spiritual world may appear, but they are actually devotees playing the part of the demons, and there's a different interaction. For example, in the spiritual world, Krishna confronts the Keshi demon, who is actually a devotee at that particular point, and instead of killing him like he does in the material world, by sticking his hand in the mouth of the Keshi demon and causing it to expand and the Keshi choking to death, Krishna tames him, and he gives the coward boys rides on the Keshi demon. You know, just takes them all around. And then as far as the Rishdashur is concerned, Krishna tames him and gives him to Lord Shiva as his bull carrier. So it's a little bit different. So getting back to the story, so the Kaliya serpent appears in the spiritual world. He's actually a devotee. And the residents in the spiritual world are in anxiety too. And Balaram says to Krishna, which is really interesting, he says, these are residents of Vrindavan. They are not your Vaikuntha attendants. There's a quote there from Brihad Bhagavatamrita by Sanatana Goswami. They're not your Vaikuntha attendants. In other words, you're going to kill them. This is the spiritual world. With anxiety. Because if someone has too much anxiety, they could die. But in the spiritual world, of course, no one dies. And then Krishna comes out because Balaram is asking him to come out. And then in the spiritual world, instead of just coming out of the Jamuna like he's doing here, he grabs the gopis and have them all dance on Kaliya's heads with him. So that's Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Anyway, so getting back to the point of intense emotions. Why does Krishna do that to his devotees? Why do we have these indirect rasas? Where everybody understands the direct rasas, right? Like Shantaras, Dasharas, Sakyaras, Vatsalya Ras, Madhurya Ras, right? The 5 rasas. There's the passive adoration, Shantaras of Krishna. There's the servitude relationship. There's the friendship relation, Sakyaras. There's the parental relationship. And then finally there's Madhurya, or the conjugal relationship. So you have those 5, but then you have other intense emotions that flavor those 5. It's like when you eat prasadam, someone puts a lot of chili peppers in them. Do you ever see someone do that? You know, you like, there's something you like. I mean, what do you like? I don't know. Some nice prasadam. You know, some rice and rotis. Imagine someone puts some chili peppers in your rice, white rice. Would that be so nice? No, I don't think so. You'd like it maybe in the chutney. Actually, Prabhupada said, the way Prabhupada described chutneys is not the way you have chutneys here. He said a chutney should be so hot with chili peppers that you can't eat it. Your chutneys here are like applesauce. Isn't it? It should be so sweet that you can't resist it, and so hot that you can't eat it. And I remember when Prabhupada cooked, you take they had tomato chutney, other chutneys do, and you take it and you had to run to the water fountain, or you had to take water and just pour it over your head, not only in your mouth, because your whole face would turn red. And Prabhupada liked that. So Krishna also likes that, getting back to the point. His pastimes are so sweet, they're chutneys, like that. You can't resist, but they're so painful sometimes for the residents of Vrindavan when they're seeing Krishna go through this intense, what they consider to be a death-defying type of pastime. In other words, they think Krishna could die. So Krishna does this with his devotees to enhance their love for him. And for the devotee, the pure devotees, it's actually a manifestation of their love. So you have these indirect rasas, like anger. Anger's another indirect ras. Like even you have Radharani getting extremely angry with Krishna, and Krishna loves it when she's angry. Krishna makes sure she gets angry. Krishna says to Srimati Radharani, you have a beautiful face. Your face is like that of many moons, which the word for many moons in Sanskrit is Chandravali, who is Radharani's competitor. So imagine, you say to your wife, for example, your face is beautiful, and then you mention the name of your girlfriend before you came Krishna conscious. And then he does that deliberately, so the intense emotions could arise, and Krishna enjoys it, and the devotees enjoy it. Because the spiritual world, nothing is dull. It's not, as they say in English, I don't know if you ever heard this expression, been there, seen it, done it. You ever heard that expression? Or, just boring. There's no boring. It's all expressions of love of Krishna. And the devotees don't want to give it up, just like the mother of a child is feeling anxiety for the child. We see this all the time on the airplane. We're getting angry because the child is making noise. We want to sleep. And the child is going, ah! And everyone's looking at the mother like she was the biggest demon on the planet. Did you ever see that happen in the airplane? And so, but the mothers, if you say to the mother, you can give it up, you don't have to be a mother, you can give your child away. She'll never do that. She enjoys. She enjoys. So the devotees are like that. They're actually enjoying this loving exchange, these intense emotions. Therefore, Krishna has this yoga maya to make them forget that he's God. And also, Krishna has the yoga maya to make him forget that he's God. Because if he remembers he's God, then everything's boring for him. Right? Because Krishna is apta kama. He gets whatever he wants whenever he wants. Nobody can, the gopis sometimes they're threatening Krishna with a stick to beat him. Like there's a story at Govardhan. Dangati, where Krishna, very interesting story, Krishna stops the gopis from going to Govindakund with all their milk products for a sacrifice. So he stops them. And he says, you have to pay taxes. It's called the tax pastime. So the gopis argue, we're not paying taxes, and Krishna's charging them money for each part of their transcendental bodies. Yes, as to Radharani, for your beautiful eyes, you have to pay so many gold coins. Your ears, you have to, and she gets angrier and angrier and angrier. And then they the next day, come back the next day and overpower the coward boys with millions of gopis and tie Krishna and the coward boys to trees. And Krishna can't escape. And they take sticks to beat him. Like that. And that's one of the things, of course, that happens in Holi, isn't it? Latmar Holi. I told the devotees the other day, one time I went to Barshana when they were having this Holi ceremony, Latmar Holi. And I didn't know. So I got out of so where they beat up the men, I didn't know it was that. I thought it was just go to Barshana, you see Radharani, chant Hare Krishna, walk up the hill. And so I didn't know. So as soon as I got out of the car, I got attacked. And I'm not Christian. I wasn't enjoying. They said, there he is. Get him! In Hindi, of course. And that much I can understand. So I had to get escape from all these ladies after they beat me. I had to climb the side of the hill with no stairs or anything like that. Become a mountain climber. So anyway, so the gopis came back and they were threatening Krishna, tie him to a tree. Krishna's God. He could have just wished it all to disappear. Up to kama. He gets whatever he wants whenever he wants. Nobody can argue with him. But he forgets that he's God, and he wants to forget that he's God, because he enjoys these intense emotional exchanges. And then he has to be so tricky sometimes to meet with Radharani. Sometimes he has to dress as a woman to meet with Radharani. Anyway, so many things, so many pastimes we hear about in Braj. But the main point is, the more intense the emotional exchanges are, the closer one gets to Krishna. Up to the point of what's called Vipralamba Seva. Vipralamba Seva is worship of Krishna in separation. Yugayitam nimishena chakshusha pravishayitam shinyayitam jagat sarvam govinda vidahename. Krishna, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years more, or actually a yuga cycle. That's really what the Sanskrit says. And I'm feeling all vacant in the world. The whole world is absent. That means that one's more connected to Krishna when one feels like that. The more emotions. So therefore, the acharyas have analyzed Krishna consciousness. Rupa Goswami has analyzed Krishna consciousness as an emotional exchange with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he's gone through a whole analysis of emotions called bhavas. Because right now we are all experiencing emotions too. That's called bhava rog. You know what bhava rog means? sick emotions. You know, we're anxiety, just like yesterday, I read the news about the war going on in Ukraine. Some of you may know about that. Of course, Fiji's in the other part of the world. You don't have to worry about death, disease, and old age here. Do you? Yes, you do. So I was in anxiety. But that anxiety is just like, what? Whatever. Dukali and Masashana, Krishna describes that's the nature of this world. What do you expect? So in this material world, we have this sick emotions. Like that's why you all watch Bollywood films, because you're sick emotions. It's called Kama Asia, isn't it? Krodha Asia, Rajagunasva. You know, these are Pablo Road. So instead, if we become absorbed in transcendental emotions, which Rupa Goswami has analyzed, then we will not be attracted to these sick emotions. Right? Just like if you want to be healthy, instead of sitting down all day long, you should exercise. You don't just negate. You say, oh, instead of sitting down, I should just be sleeping all day long. You do something positive. So if you want to negate these sick emotions, it's not that you just try to do a negative. You have to understand the positive emotions and get into the positive emotions, not to the extent the residents of Vrindavan are doing right now, but while you're performing your sadhana. Prabhupada would often say you should chant with your heart. That's of course there. But devotional service should be an emotional experience. One of my godbrothers, Gaur Govinda Maharaj, said about his temple, he said, I'm opening up a crying ashram. That means devotees. And the Bhagavatam says if you chant the holy names and you're not feeling tears coming to your eyes, your heart is certainly steel framed. You have spiritual problems. If you're just chanting and it's as dry as a desert to you, you got spiritual problems. You should go see a spiritual doctor. You know, you could maybe committing offense against Vaishnavas, you may be cultivating material emotions or whatever. So anyway, emotion should be there while performing devotion. And you should be thinking of what you're doing while you're chanting, for example, the Guru Vashtaka, Samsara, which they call Samsara prayers. You should be thinking about, let's say, Samsara Dhammanandali Loka Shanaya Karuna Ganapam. You should be thinking about how the spiritual master is raining his mercy upon this world. Like Prabhupada is raining his mercy upon this world. And that's an ecstatic thought, an ecstatic vision. And then your emotions become more pronounced. We cannot imitate the residents of Vrindavan. Most of us, Yugayatam, Nimishina, Chakshusha, Prabhushaitam, we don't feel that sort of separation from Krishna. We can do all sorts of nonsense for 12 hours a day, and we don't feel any absence of Krishna. We just think, it's nice. Isn't it? So we're not on that platform right now. Well, you may be. Hopefully I'm not offending any of you great devotees. You may be on that platform. However, but at least we should experience or try to understand why we're doing what we're doing when we're performing our sadhana. When we're chanting, we're begging Krishna. We're begging Srimati Radharani to engage us in Krishna service. So be more aware. Anyway, so I don't want to get into a whole analysis of spiritual emotions, but at least talking from the standpoint of our own bhakti process, we should integrate these emotions into our lives. We chant with the heart. Sometimes you see these acharyas, when they have the japa, which are called the japa bag. I call it the bead bag. Probably call it a bead bag, not a japa bag. So they take they'll hold their japa bag right in their heart. You see Bhaktivinoda Thakur and others. Because they're feeling the emotions while they're chanting japa from the heart. The heart is actually where the soul is. If you haven't studied Prabhupada's books, you wouldn't know that. Videsha Arjuna Tishtati Brahmayan Sarvabhutane. You understand? Bhagavad Gita, Videsha Arjuna Tishtati. The living entity is in the heart. So Krishna is also in the heart. So therefore we chant with our heart. Think about that. Chant with our heart. And the brain can be there too, the ears can be there too, but the heart should always be there. So anyway, these emotions are very important. So any questions or comments? Keep it short today. Questions, comments, arguments, problems? Yes?
How would we explain someone who is chanting Omkar and say we are saying that Krishna, I'm also Omkar?
Yeah, he is. Omkar is another way of chanting Hare Krishna. That is true. We have no objection if someone chants Omkar. I used to do it before I joined the movement. I would chant Om for 8 hours a day. I was a yogi. Boogie yogi. But I was a vegetarian. So, but I would go to the forest, maybe not 8 hours, 4 hours at a time. I'd sit in the forest and chant Om, like that. And very amazing experiences I had. And the animals would come up and just surround me. Little animals, not crocodiles. Because I think I would have been scared. Well, actually, I'll tell you a funny story. I did go to one island in the Bahamas to chant, just to be absorbed in meditation. This is before I joined the movement, of course. To chant Om. So I was sat outside. It's very beautiful. It's like Fiji weather. So I was sitting outside. My family owned this place, so we took our own plane and landed there. Otherwise, you couldn't get there. So we had an airplane. See. Garuda. I didn't know that Garuda. So we landed. So I was sitting there trying to chant Om, and then I heard the sound of these wild boars. You know what a wild boar is? It's a pig, but it's like as big as any of you. As big as a chuta. Or bigger, actually. It's almost as big as a cow, And they had these tusks coming out of their mouth. And so I stopped chanting Om at that point. I wasn't a Bhaya Shakma Sham Shuddhi Jnana Yoga Vavastiti. So, anyway, but my chanting Om was beneficial, and then ultimately I started chanting Hare Krishna when I came into contact with Prabhupada. So there's nothing wrong with chanting Om. We encourage it. Pranavasarva Vedeshu Sabdake Purasham Noshu. It actually, Prabhupada and the Acharyas describe that Om means Krishna, Radharani, and the living entities. It's the same things. Hare Krishna, you got Radha, evocative form, Krishna, and the living entities there implicitly because Krishna, you're begging Radharani to let you serve Krishna. So, yeah, but our method of sadhana has been given to us by the disciplic succession. That's the difference. And the method of sadhana is to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And interestingly enough, that according to the strict ritualistic brahmanas, only brahmanas are allowed to chant Om. It's interesting. Just like Sripad Ramanujacharya, he was teaching all the people to chant Om Narayanaya, right? But before that, all the people who were in Brahmanas were only allowed to say Narayana. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Om, the Brahmanas wanted to reserve that name for the chanting of Om to themselves. Even they weren't, the anyone less than a Brahmin was not allowed to chant the Vedic mantras. It was prohibited. So anyway, so we have no objection. Just another way of chanting Hare Krishna, but ultimately they should chant Hare Krishna. Just encourage them. Krishna says one should not discourage people, but encourage them to work in the spirit of devotion. You know, chant Om and add Hare Krishna. They can chant Om Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. If they want to, the rounds would take a lot longer. So, any other questions or comments? But, you know, chanting Om will lead them to chanting Hare Krishna. It's a name of Krishna. So, any other questions? Comments? Arguments? Problems? No. Everyone's happy. Satisfied. As long as they can eat prasadam on time. See that, you know, people are anxiety. Will I get prasadam? Will I have enough to eat? Will I pay my mortgage this month? Am I sick? You know, so much anxiety in this world, isn't it? Because that's described because of the duality that we experience. Vayam. Oh, okay. So we're experiencing anxiety, and that's Bhava Roga. But we should understand Krishna's always taking care of us. Krishna will maintain us, Krishna will protect us, no problem. I never saw a devotee starve to death the whole time I've been in the Krishna conscious movement. Isn't it? Never. No. So, I guess that's it. All glory is to His divine grace. Srila Prabhupada, ki jai.